Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's baking blog. Now today I'm going to be making a vanilla sponge with a jam and coconut topping. So I'm going to use raspberry jam or raspberry conserve and desiccated coconut on top. It's quite simple to make, and I'm going to make it in a tray that's about 20 centimeters by 30 centimeters, 8 inches by 12 inches. Mine's actually slightly larger. It's 8.5 by 12 and a quarter, but it will be fine. Now you could do this in a 9-inch square tin or an 8-inch square tin, but the baking time would need to increase because you've got a greater density or greater volume of batter in a smaller area. So for the ingredients, for the cake, I have 225 grams of flour, 225 grams of caster sugar, 4 large eggs, that would be extra large in the USA, 225 grams of softened butter, about 12-13 millilitres, just under a tablespoon of milk. I may not need all of it, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then I'm also going to use up to about 60 grams of desiccated coconut and some raspberry jam or raspberry conserve, but you could use any jam that you wanted to, apricot, strawberry, blueberry, whatever, blackberry. Now the first thing to do is to cream the butter and the sugar together, and then we go on to mix the other ingredients. So I should say I've got my oven preheating at 180 Celsius, that's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, and I've greased and lined my tin ready to take the batter. So we'll put the butter and the sugar into a bowl. And we'll cream those together. And then what we want to do is add our eggs one at a time, and you can add a little bit of flour in with the eggs to stop them from curdling if you want to. If they curdle, it doesn't matter too much because it will all come together when the remainder of the flour is added in. So we mix these together one at a time until they're all fully combined. So that's the eggs mixed in, and then the next thing we want to do is to put our baking powder into the flour and just give it a bit of a whisk around to get it mixed in, and then we'll pour the flour into the egg and sugar, and we're just going to fold that in until it's all combined. And as we do that, we will also add the milk and the vanilla extract. So we'll pour in the milk and the vanilla, and we'll mix that in until that's all combined, and that just helps to get any residue flour mixed in as well. And then we need to put that into our lined tin. And we'll spread it around. And so with that spread fairly evenly across the tin, a nice thin layer, I'm going to put that into the oven, and I'm going to bake it for 25 to 30 minutes until it's springy to the touch and a skewer poked in comes out clean. Then I take it out and let it cool down a little bit, and I'll come back and we'll go on to the next step. Right, well, I'm back with you, and I've taken our cake out. I allowed it to cool down for a few minutes, and then I've turned it out onto a wire rack. So this is actually the underside of the cake, but because it's flat, that's what I'm going to use for putting the topping on. And so what I'm going to do is just put some jam, maybe start off with about 3 tablespoons full of jam, and spread that over, and I can add more if I want to. And then what I'm going to do is to take my coconut, and I may not need all of this coconut, but I'm just going to sprinkle it on. And with that sprinkled on like that, what I'm going to do is just take a knife. You could use your hand, but I'm just going to take a spatula like this, and I'm going to tap it down so that most of the coconut will get stuck to the jam. And that's all we need to do to it, except to cut it and have a little taste. So you could cut this into sort of 6 2-inch square strips, and then 4 2-inch strips. So I'm just going to cut just at this end here. Take one out and have a look. That looks very good. So we'll have a taste. It does taste very good. It's nice and light, the sponge, and then you get the raspberry and the coconut, and it's just enough raspberry. You don't need to sort of slather it all over, or slather it all over with jam too thick. You could if you wanted to. Now this is ideal to eat just like this, or you could cut larger pieces potentially and serve it as a dessert with some custard or something. But I think it's good just like this. So that's going to be it for this recipe, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, which will take you to the recipe, and I'll also put a link for that below the video. And I will be back with you with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.